My background maybe is a little bit different from most of you. I started my career in technology research, and then I founded my own startup. And at the moment at Twilio, what I'm doing is basically helping product managers to create amazing experience and create great products with the help of Twilio. So today, what I like to do is to speak about something that is very close to my heart. It's human communications. It's basically because the evolution has been that products are less and less about what they are, what the material comfort they provide, but are more about the experience that they enable. And I believe that communications are a main core piece of that experience. And I want to maybe leave this stage by having convinced you all that if you want to build a great product, you need to have your communications nailed down. So what do these products have in common? What does a Coca-Cola, a MacBook, Uber ride, or a Tesla car have in common? Any hints? Well, that the companies that actually created these products were not thinking about what the object they wanted to create or the service they were putting together. They were thinking about the experience the customers they wanted to address were going to have. I mean, let's say that Apple has been very good at creating a brand that does that sells experience, sells the feeling, sells the ownership of this brand. But the truth is that Coca-Cola, way before Apple, way before Apple, already was creating events, sponsoring events, basically making people go to concerts where the Coca-Cola itself was just one of the drinks that were served there. And in the area of tech, basically in the area of the companies that have been founded in the past 15 years, it's an obsession to the point, like for instance, Tesla, the position they had was, we want to make and be the first ones to create the one and only electric car for everybody to use. And it's about being ecologic. The core business is about being different. And well, let's say about Uber, which is basically how to make affordable riding across the city in a way that nobody else has done before. But this all comes from the fact that consumers' priorities have shifted in the past years. So I'd say that 50 years ago, the main obsession of anybody was to basically, get a house, get a car, buy clothes. It was basically, you wanted to have material wealth around you. That was the idea of achiever. But things have changed. Millennials have completely different values. They are thinking ecology, they're thinking fairness, and there is research that proves that buying things doesn't make us happy, that collecting things doesn't make us happy, that what actually makes us happy is to experiment, to do things. And is that ironic that at the end of the day, we are producing things. So it's a challenge. It's not easy to actually move from a mentality where you are producing a service or a thing and thinking how your target, or basically audience or consumers, are going to actually take it on board. And where do you start? How do you do that? I can give you a first starting point. Think about every time you create a product, think about human communications. Think about how humans relate. And make sure that each of your products are backed by the right communications. If you add to your products good communications, you will be actually building amazing experiences. And that's because it's the way it is. We live it's never been as easy as being as interconnected as we are today. We have people speaking with people all the time, people speaking with machines all the time. And these conversations that actually weren't conversations that at the moment, at some point, brands or products were having one way, emails one way, SMS one way, is becoming more and more like multi-party exchanges where you actually want to bring different people. So make sure that you actually add the possibility for your product to be actually reaching out or enabling the possibility to reach out to your customers and allowing them to connect well to their friends and family so they can share about it. But not all companies are actually well equipped to do that. And that's where things can start going south. And if it's a great idea to have a good product with amazing communications, you can have the most amazing product and then terrible communications, and you're going to have, as a consequence, a terrible experience for your customer. So your customers will not actually even want to hear about you. That's very typical. It's a phone. You get a deliver message, my parcel is on your way, and then you have the typical reaction, which is, oh my God, I didn't remember that we had a delivery. I want to reply back. You reply back. I'm not there. Please do not deliver. Wait a moment. And say, okay, you send the message back, and nothing happens. And there he goes, nothing happens. So why did the company even send you the message? Well, it's nice to warn you, but if you cannot do anything about it, on that simple, it's so easy to let your customers down. It's so easy to actually break that trust that has cost so much to bring up, to actually create. And it's just a matter of seconds. So at Twilio, we know that. And we know that it's not actually a simple matter to build those communication flows, those engagement flows that actually will work well with your customers. We are very different. We are all in different stages. We are all in different contexts. So it can become quite complex. So what we did back 10 years ago was to actually think about the complexity of the hardware that was below it, so all the telecom networks, and put a layer of software on top of it so that any company, any product could actually embed communications into the way they actually interact with their customers. So we have basically on this journey supported companies that have created, scaled, operated communications with the product. And this is not something that is just us. It's a trend. It's a fact that we have now very complex pieces of technology at the hands of developers and product managers to be able to create different experiences. We had from, the computer power on one side, any service, like this morning, we were discussing about, being lost and having the possibility to have maps even if you're offline. We are doing this at the core of communications, but still you have analytics, you have payments, you have every single aspect of these building blocks that you have to think about so that you can build this amazing experience for your customers. And we are not here alone, but the fact that we are actually supporting 1,600 100,000 customers worldwide. We are actually learning from them. We are actually learning what they like, what they actually want to give to their customers. And it is helping us to help them as well shape their future, the way they engage with their customers. In some sense, we see that the winning brands, the winning products, the winning companies are those that actually are using companies like Twilio to build those amazing experiences, to actually think at the core of their experience to have their customer and then build the experience with the products around it. And of course, your product will shape and change as the evolution of the experience of your customer will change and evolve. So, okay, it seems very easy to say, but how do you start? Where do you start? So I like to basically propose a couple of things that we have at Twilio that we are actually giving out as part of our product to people to start playing with. So let's say one big example would be leverage artificial intelligence. There's a lot of power out there. There's the possibility of actually creating amazing things using machine learning and other techniques. And it's actually said that more or less by the end of 2020, 80% of all businesses will have some kind of chatbot automation put in place. And this is just because when I'm calling Tesla or when I'm actually talking with Mark and Spencer, I don't really care if it's a machine or if it's a person, as long as I get exactly what I want. And this is the key to the whole thing, is having this experience. And building these experiences are not easy. That's why when you get a product like Autopilot or any product out there, you have the possibility, in this case, to train, to personalize it, to customize it to your product, and actually making sure that it's actually tailored to what you need for your environment. And we do this, making it simple for product managers, because we don't want everybody to actually have to be an engineer to be able to do this, so that we use plug-and-play tools and other ways that you can actually easily build proof of concept and start testing how it reacts, how people react to that, to learn about the exchanges you have with your customers. And that's the interesting part of it. At the end of the day is your consumer, the customer. And not everybody is the same. And not everybody likes to be contacted the same way. And it's difficult. And we understand that when you're putting together, let's say, a way of exchanging with a customer, you like to mix different channels. And we put things like conversations together so that you do not have to force your customers to speak to you in a certain way. But you basically let them come together, discuss with you in any of the channels they prefer. All this, of course, backed up with the analytics, the data gathering that you can have in one single place, so that you can actually not only enable those discussions, but also learn from those discussions, improve your business from those discussions, get products out of that. And it's just the beginning. Truly, as a company, that's the full spectrum. From the basics of telephony, we were known as the SMS company. But we do much more than that. And most people don't know because we don't have a brand that is visible. You know you're using us because you have Uber, so if you get an SMS, it's us who's sending it. But the important part here is that your success is out of our transparency. We are transparent to you, but we are giving you the network, we're giving you the channels, and we're giving you the building blocks for you to be able to create those products that are amazing. And in any given channel that you require. Because remember, not everybody likes to be contacted the same way. And we've invested as a company in getting all those channels in one single place, so it is easy for you and even for anybody to come together and actually play with the channels and understand what is best given an environment or given a certain customer. So I hope that by stage, you are convinced like me that it is important that any product, any given product, when it's designed and when it's actually developed, implemented, and put out there, comes with amazing communications. I hope that, and I think we agreed because we've seen that in previous speeches or previous presentations, that is all about experience. It's all about how your customers feel. But I wanted also to show you that it's not such a daunting experience anymore, or a daunting endeavor anymore, to be able to put this in place, because we have tools out there to support your communications, and you have actually very good products out there that you can yourself use to plug and play into your own final services. And as we like to say in Twilio, we cannot wait to see what you build. I hope that you like my presentation. Thank you very much. So I have a first question. Say, any recommendations on the most effective communication methodologies or tools for platform products to be used by internal developers or product managers? Okay, so very interesting question, very relevant. Normally they tend to separate communications in two ways. External communications to the external world, how you actually do customer support or customer engagement, marketing, and then internal to actually manage your own teams. It is my firm belief that in terms of tools internally, you should use something that actually works. So I'm not going to give brands because it's not so much about one tool over another. So I'm not going to tell you use Slack or use Skype for Business or use Teams. There are loads out there. What you need to learn or understand is the dynamics of your team, because that's what actually will work well for you or not. That's how you end up with one tool over another. Yeah. So there's no one single solution for product manager. Okay. It's all about the culture of your company. Turn the slide. And you need to find a tool that matches well the culture of your company. If you're a startup, it's not going to be the same as if it was a bank. And I would never impose the same tool to a bank that I would put to a startup. The same way you have to learn that you might have to evolve in the communication tool that you're gonna have to use, because if your startup used to be 50 people, maybe you don't want to use exactly the same thing when you are 5,000. So think about more of an evolution and understanding what you are as a company and what kind of culture you've got. Second question, how much adoption have you had from brands using WhatsApp? Loads, millions. They cannot get enough of it. They love WhatsApp because the lack of friction in actually exchanging messages, and the fact that is pretty much ubiquitous worldwide. However, I must admit that Facebook doesn't make it easy, and going to the further process of adopting WhatsApp is not a simple process for anybody that wants to go. I encourage everybody to actually try, by the way, but I'm just saying that in the process of creating your product, you're gonna have to be patient, because there's a lot of administrative stuff, administrative process, I would say, that Facebook puts in place for a good reason, because they don't want WhatsApp to be a marketing tool. They just want it to be a communications tool. In the era of chatbots, people value the human approach more than ever. What are your thoughts? Yes and not. So yes, I want a human that can answer my requests, like almost like a person. It feels like a personal touch when you have a human nowadays. But there are many occasions where I don't want to call anybody. And this is my personal preference. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I just want the answer. And if I can find it with a Google search, or I can find it with something like that, is what I want. I don't want to have to call somebody. So I think the takeaway from this is that there is a moment, a channel, an interaction that is adequate for your needs at a given time. And it's getting that combination of context, channel, and content right that makes it a success. And yes, in that channel, there's a human. They most likely be a human, but it better add a lot of value, because calling somebody just to be answered that, I'm sorry, but I don't know, I have to pass you to somebody else, is not gonna add much value. So it depends. In terms of personal touch, in other areas, there's so much in communications, you have the fact that people buy online versus people buying on a shop. So how much value the person on the shop is adding to your exchange. So think about this concept of why is a human instead of being a machine. So don't think like, it's a machine, I don't like it. It's a human. So as a human, what is this person giving to the whole product? What are the trends in comms for 2020? Okay, WhatsApp. That's the first one. The second one is RCS. So it's been ages trying to push this forward, but basically it's enabling what WhatsApp gives in terms of richness of and easiness of media and exchanges onto SMS. So on the same channel on your mobiles. Google is backing this. And in terms of, I would say, a much higher level, I think we will get more and more communications for second, like we call multi-factor authentication, and other ways to communicate, to authenticate who you are, to identify you. So there's a lot of work done in using communication for identification due to fraud and other and scams and things like that. I'm not sure, how are we doing about time? I'm still okay? Yeah, okay. What is your number one recommendation for B2C subscription business or creating a strong user onboarding? So basically, how to do it frictionless. I think one thing that most people or most apps or websites don't ask when they're onboarding people is context. I think that everybody wants to have one single onboarding journey, like the panacea that's gonna help. Think a simple question of what's your context, where are you now, or understanding the context of who is onboarding, and then shaping that onboarding experience based on that single piece of context might be much more successful to create less friction. Because if the person doesn't have the documentation, or it's on a mobile, but it's in an environment that he shouldn't or she shouldn't be actually sharing this kind of information, might not be the best way. It might actually break the onboarding at a certain point. In terms of how to do it, if I knew it, I would have a product out there and I would already have sold it. It's difficult to actually, you don't want to start invading too much and asking too much up front to understand the context of the individual. So there is a trade-off that has to be made. And how do you make communication safe within Twilio platform? So we encrypt absolutely all our communications and we don't keep them. So we are pipes, no hosts. So that's the biggest difference with maybe Amazon or other platforms. All our communications are encrypted so that you wouldn't actually be able to look into what is inside. Then it's up to the person that builds the platform or that builds the product to use that information that they request and they get it and they decrypt in their side wisely or not. I mean, it's always the same thing. The security is up to the people, the different parties that get involved into the communications. But on our side, the point-to-point will always be encrypted. And I think that's everything. For the likes of Coca-Cola, Uber, etc., how did you land these clients in a non-visible brand, as you put it? How did you land these clients as a non-visible brand, as you put it? Okay, so how do you actually make like Twilio, who is not visible, something that has the same level of, creates the same level of awareness? I think, at least, I'm gonna answer for Twilio because that's what I think we're trying to do. But I'm not sure if it will work for whoever had this question. Think of your target customer, and for our target customer, for us, it's you guys or companies in general. So it's not the same in B2B than B2C. So ours is B2B, and in that case, what I would like them to think about is like when we project Twilio, everybody knows Amazon Cloud, everybody knows Google Cloud, but when you think about comms, what we need to do is to make sure that everybody knows what we do, and actually when they think communications, cloud, and they think Twilio. And that's how you get the same level of awareness. Because experience for consumers is one thing, okay, it's enjoyment, it's going to the cinema, but when you're talking about businesses, you're thinking about what you are doing for them, and at the end of the day, is you are solving problems that they want to solve for the customers. So that's what we would like. And for us, it would be this level of, okay, awareness worldwide, basically. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ana. And now next to the stage,